Welcome to the May Challenge for the Art and Soul Studio Facebook group. This is a portrait with stenciled flowers. I'm going to do 3 different project ideas, and this is for a postcard swap. So Kylie did 3 ideas on her video. I'll link her video down below, and I am doing 3 postcard ideas. So this first one, I painted the background already with gold metallic paint. Then I cut a face shape. And I folded the paper into the correct proportions, facial proportions. I folded it in half both ways, because when you fold it in half from top to bottom, that's where the eyes go. And then you can see that the hairline goes a little bit above that, and it's the top of the head that's actually the very top of the head, is not where the hairline goes. That's actually the top of the head. The hairline is a bit below that. And I draw it in pencil first, and then go over it with marker. And I did want a sleeping face or meditating face. And then I don't know where I got this idea, but I thought I was really excited about this idea of stenciling flowers in violet and blue or turquoise, because I wanted to use that color palette of gold, violet, and turquoise. I don't know if that blue is exactly turquoise, but I think that's probably cerulean blue, but that was a good enough substitute for turquoise. In Kylie's video, she does mention what postcard size is. It varies, because you could have a small postcard size, you could have a large postcard size. I happen to have these on hand. They're not postcards, but they are photo print. They're blanks for people to put their photo or artwork on, and then they come with envelopes, and it's about 5 inches by 7 inches. And I'm using a makeup sponge with the stencils. That's my preferred way. I don't like stencil brushes. A big bag of cheap makeup sponges is the best way that I've found. And I reuse my makeup, I reuse these stencil sponges, so I end up having a pretty full bag of makeup sponges that I bought a while ago. I'm going to let the music play until the end of this project idea, because it's pretty self-explanatory. And so please enjoy watching my process until we come to project number 2, which is alcohol dripping flowers, and you may be very interested in that. Alcohol dripping flowers technique. So I'll catch you on the other side when I come to project number 2, since this is pretty self-explanatory. Okay, project number 2 is alcohol dripping technique to create flowers. And I'm using a block of 16 by 20 inch watercolor paper of about 140 pounds. And I've already painted it with 2 layers of acrylic paint with kind of light colors. So you need to do that before you start the alcohol dripping. You do need an acrylic painted background, whether on canvas or watercolor paper. And then water down acrylic. So I'm using 3 different acrylic paints and watering them down. And then I'm using 91% alcohol, 91% solution alcohol. And so I pour on the paint, and then because it starts dripping, I blend it into a circle, and then I put a couple drops of alcohol on. The problem with this is that my paper starts buckling, and it does not retain the beautiful design that's created once you drip the alcohol on. So that's a really cool design, but it ends up dissolving and dissipating so much. It does not hold its shape, and I think that's because my paper started buckling. So if you were to do this, I would recommend doing this. You could still do it on watercolor paper that's been painted with 2 coats of acrylic paint, but have it be a smaller size, because I believe if it was a smaller size, the paper would not buckle so much. I was using 16 by 20 inch. And of course, even though this is a postcard project, later on you'll see I use a viewfinder to pick the composition that I like the best out of the whole paper. And so that was a really pretty design right there. So I decided just to do this project big, and I can always use it for other things later on, but cut out the portion that I would want for a postcard, even 1 or more postcards. But in this case, I just use it for 1 postcard. Then I'm doing some spatter painting. Now I'm using the viewfinder to find out where the best composition would be. Oh, that's the one that I like the best, and I drew it out with pencil and cut it. And then I used white marker, Posca white marker, and also Jelly Roll white marker for the very fine line. Okay, for project number 3 is Watercolor Collage Beach Scene. I've already painted this paper with a couple shades of blue for the water. And now I'm going to tear this corner, and because this is thick paper, it's 140-pound watercolor paper, I'm trying to tear it in such a way that the white edge is going to show, which is going to look like water foam or sea foam. And then I'm using corrugated cardboard there for the sand. I tried cotton, pulled cotton, to see how that would look as waves. I end up not using that. And I don't like, I had started pulling away the top layer of the cardboard, and I end up doing away with that as well, and just using a plain piece of corrugated cardboard, which I'm about to cut there right now. So between Kylie's video and my own, I think you're just going to get so much inspiration and ideas for your own postcard designs, and we're going to be so excited to see what everybody does and what everybody creates. I try again seeing if the cotton will work, but I do the paper ripping technique instead. So I've cut a sandal shape, folded the paper in half so that I'm going to get 2 identical sandal shapes. For the watercolor part of the water, I did use the salt technique where you paint with watercolor, and then while the watercolor's still wet, you drop salt on it. And for me, it didn't totally work there, but it did create a little bit of texture. But I've seen it where it creates like bigger bubbles. And you just leave the salt on there until the paint dries, and of course you could use your heat drying tool. That's tacky glue, that was the best glue to use for that, because that's heavy cardboard and heavy paper. For the sandals, I just use glue stick. You don't need tacky glue for that. Okay, for the waves, all I did was that ripping technique that I showed you at the very beginning. You rip it in such a way that the white edge is going to be showing. And I thought that's really a good way to show sea foam. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you get a lot of ideas and inspiration from Kylie's video and my own. Please like, comment, or subscribe. And have a great creative day.